Hey guys, I'm Bob. I don't really do tutorials, but I'm gonna try to do a quick tutorial on Oath because I love this game and I would like a lot of people to play it. But I've heard on Board Game Geek that a lot of people are struggling with the rules because it's different. So I'm gonna take a stab at it, and it's not gonna be a really nicely prepared tutorial because I am basically just winging it. But I think I know enough about the game to help some people out who might be struggling, so I'm just gonna give it a go. So, anyways, as you might see here, I'm in Tabletop Simulator because my copy of Oath hasn't arrived yet. I'm in North America, so I'm still waiting for mine. But I think I should be able to explain most of it. The chronicling at the end might be a little bit tricky because not all cards are available to you in Tabletop Simulator because that's just how the mod is programmed. But I think I can get you through most of it. So, the way that I am going to structure everything is I've got a second monitor set up here that you guys can't see. And I'm just gonna go through the rule book and I'll give you my notes and my thoughts and clarify certain things that I struggled with while I was trying to get through the rules. But before I do that, there's one thing I want to point out though, because I opened a couple of web pages here. So if you go to the Leader Game website, they have a resource section with PDFs of all the files that you have if you're one of the lucky people who already have Oath. But I found this to be extremely helpful. For one, the card database, so if I open that up here, has for certain cards it has facts, which is so convenient. You can just search whatever card that you want. Like, I don't know, if I want to find what's a cool card, the Gathering. I like the Gathering. There you go. But the Gathering is a card in which all players go to one side, and you can trade stuff, while most of the time in the game you can't really trade anything. So it's a tricky card, and they got a fact for it. If you have questions. So, and they got that for every card here. So that's definitely one thing I would recommend while you're playing. If you draw a card that you're just confused about, go to oathcard.syria. Well, just go to the Leader Game side and you can find it here. Also, if you just copy paste this in a new window and you remove cards, and it's just oath dot whatever the domain name is supposed to be pronounced like, and I apologize for whoever made the site. The site's awesome. But you can find a digital version of the rules, and this is also searchable, and it's so much more convenient than the PDF even. Like, say for example, I don't know, you're confused about how rule works because a card says if you rule the site then this or that happens. Well, you just type in rule, and now every sentence that has the word rule in it somehow will be highlighted like so. And well, it's not every sentence, but everything that's related, I guess. And it's so much easier to find the rules that actually apply, because Oath has some tricky rules. I feel that it gets to be pretty straightforward at some point, but it takes a couple of games to get there. So, anyways, two resources that I would really recommend, and actually, now that I think of it, there's also the Woodland Warriors Discord server where Leader Games has their community, which is way faster than asking questions on Board Game Geek. You can just ask a question and get it answered in like, I don't know, in an hour. You'll typically have an answer, if not in a couple of minutes. And there are people there playing Root, there are people there playing all the other games, but also Oath. So that's been really helpful for me as well. So anyways, look into those resources if you need help, because I'm sure that I'm not going to do everything perfect because I'm really just improvising right now. All right, cool. So like I said, on my second monitor here, I've got the playbook open, and I'm gonna skip to page 8 on it, where it's talking about who you are, how to win, and all that kind of stuff. So I feel if you teach a board game, I always talk about why the game is gonna be fun, and I do everything shut up and sit down tells me to do. So basically, this game is gonna be really fun because you're gonna be writing history, and yeah, that's how far as I'll take it, because I'm sure you're watching this video because you already know what Oath is about to some extent. But in general, the idea is that you have a couple of characters. So right now, this is a tutorial game actually. So this is what you will find in the playbook. If you go to Tabletop Simulator, if you happen to own that, you can just click on Setup and it will set it up exactly like it is in the sample game in the playbook. But anyways, that's what I did. So red, blue, and yellow are here now. I said characters, but you shouldn't really look at them as characters. It'll get it got confusing for me. Thinking of these as characters and trying to role play them. You can kind of role play them, but time passes in Oath and big events will happen. So just like, oh, I love the blue guy. I think everybody loves the blue character. I mean, they're gender non-specific. So yeah, whoever the blue character is, like that character might be somebody completely different in the next game. Like if blue wins and blue becomes the Chancellor, so that means that blue will go from here um, to becoming purple. Then somebody else could pick up blue as a character, and then they are the blue character. So you just want to look at it more as like these families that go through the ages as you chronicle the history of this mysterious world, and don't get overly attached to a specific character. Unless your group is only 4 people, then you can probably just do it where it's like, okay, whenever a certain color becomes Chancellor, nobody gets to play that color. But if you want to play it with up to 6 players, which I think is pretty neat, you don't want to get too attached to the colors, okay? So anyways, that's just a little bit of context for that, because that really messed with me. And yeah, right now I'm on the page 8, so who you are, how to win, well, that's basically it. Somebody's going to be the Chancellor. The big difference being the Chancellor is just that you have more resources. It's not a lot more, let me zoom in on that, but you start with, let's see, you have 2 favors, so they're not coins. The yellow things that you see, the yellow circles, they're favor. And actually, let me get one here. Oh, I can't zoom in on it very well, but I'll zoom in like this then. Oh, wait. Yeah, this is what I'm actually looking for. So these are called favors. And that's kind of important. You want to think of them not necessarily as coins, but as literally favors that you're trading with the people that live here, the denizens that live there. So it's not just like, oh, I pay you this and then you use that money to do something. No, it's just like I did a favor for one of the people here, and the money eventually, depending on who that person is associated with, will go back in here, associated with a certain suit. So there's like Discord, Arcane, Order, Hearth, Beast, and Nomad. And I'm sure that's all really confusing right now. So don't worry too much about that. All you need to know right now is that these are not called coins, they're favors. So whenever I'm referring to favor, it is what looks like a coin to you here. And now that I'm talking about the resources, I should probably mention as well that they also have books, or rather secrets. So I'm never going to call them books ever again. But the component that you have is going to look like a book, but they're actually secrets. And again, you don't want to think of them as books, or as a certain currency, even though it feels like a currency in a lot of ways. But it's a secret. And to me personally, when I play Oath, it really matters, because the world comes to life when you play it that way. If you feel like, oh yeah, I am sharing this secret with somebody, and then you have a certain card in which somebody seems to know more about the world than somebody else, and opportunities open up. That's what Oath is really about, and that's what makes the game really good. So if you start using favors as coins and secrets as books, you lose a lot of the flavor. So that's why that's important. Anyways, I might be getting ahead of myself here, but well, it was kind of important to explain this bit. Like I said, nothing here is structured. But so the Chancellor, as you can see, oh, can I point that out in some kind of a way? Well, I'll probably have to zoom like so. So as you can see on the board for the Chancellor, it says, I hope you guys can see these arrows really well right here. So 2 favor, 1 secret, and 3 warbands. So that's what they will start with. And as you set up your game, right now apparently Tabletop Simulator hasn't done that, but the Chancellor will start with 2 warbands right here on the top left side, and then 1 warband in every site that's open. So you can follow along with the rules if you need to set up a game at some point. And their pawn starts in the top left. So the big ones are called pawns. They represent your character, but the rules are very different from the warbands. It's not like, I don't know, in a game like Blood Rage or something, or any Eric Lang game really. You know, it's not like it's just a leader or something. It's a pawn. It's more like a pawn in a worker placement type of game, or a worker in a worker placement type of game, than that it's a military unit. The warbands, however, I would say, or military units mostly. Anyways, so yeah, getting ahead of ourselves quite a bit here, I guess. But so 2 coins, 2 favors, 1 secret, and 3 warbands is what you will get on your player board at the start of the game. So let me grab those here real quick, because I don't know why they haven't been set up properly. So it was 2 of these, 1 of these, and then here you go, 3 of these. So that is the starting thing for the Chancellor. Now if we go to the red player, you'll see that they only get 1 favor and everything else is the same. So I'm not going to set that up for everybody just yet. I don't think it's too important. But this is how the red player starts. And they get to put their pawns somewhere, but I'll just follow along with the playbook towards the end of this video. Anyways, So yeah, that's how the Chancellor is different. They get one extra favor in the beginning, and they have a lot more warbands. They start with 20. Well, they have 24, which I'm sure if you have the actual components, you already know. While the others have, I think, yeah, 14. So every color has 14, but the purple color has 24 of them. So they can put out a lot more warbands. But there's also the trade-off with the Empire, or well, I think it's the Empire. They're Imperial, but the trade-off with them is like, well, there could be citizens, and when there are citizens, and I'll get back to that later, they will also play with the purple warbands, even though that they will still use whatever color their character has. They will play with purple warbands. So 24 might seem like you have 10 more, but as soon as you have a couple of citizens as a Chancellor, that advantage can go away really, really quickly. Because now somebody else is moving your warbands as well. And if you have like, you're playing a 6-player game with 4 citizens, it's going to feel like you barely have any warbands. Even though you can sometimes say like, you can't do this and you can't do that. You're still in charge. You're the Chancellor. But yeah. Anyways, that's why they have some more warbands, and they also have the Imperial Reliquary, if that's how I pronounce it correctly. These are basically relics. So relics are cards. You'll find them here, and I'll explain all the cards before we get anywhere, I'm sure. But so relics come from the relic deck. You can pick them up, and they are these nice little square thingies. And these are basically special abilities that you can acquire if you go look for them. Typically, they'll pop up, as you can see here on the map. Kind of cool. You can see whenever a side has an R in the upper left corner, like so, that means that a relic will be associated when you spawn. And actually, I can just show you that. Why not? Let me flip this guy here. There you go. So if somebody would go here, and I'll explain how walking somewhere works, and the R pops up, that means that a relic needs to be placed face down, and only whoever's here can actually see it at that point. But anyways, getting ahead of myself, that are relics. And these relics, the Chancellor starts with 4 of them. I'll show which ones they are right now. There's a pig, there's a key, there's a whistle. And these have super cool abilities that can be really helpful. And you can also steal them from people. But the ones that are here, they are for the Chancellor. And they're mostly just used as far in the games that I've played. This might be something in the rules that I haven't used that much. But they're mostly used for the Chancellor to give somebody a treat to come join them as a citizen. So anyways, that's what the Imperial Reliquary is about. Not something you should really worry too much about in the beginning. The Grand Scepter actually allows you to look into the Imperial Reliquary, which is kind of neat because if somebody steals it, because you can steal whenever you have a relic like so. I mean, I don't think you can steal anything from the Reliquary, but the relics that are open, yeah, you can actually attack the Chancellor and try to steal it. And if you grab his scepter and run away with it, you can start turning people into citizens just randomly and make life hard on the Chancellor because now those warbands are going to be scattered across players. So that's what the Grand Scepter does. It's a special relic. In the Tabletop Simulator version, it's a bigger card. I don't think that in the real game it's a bigger card, but who knows? You're probably the person who owns the game. How about you check it out? But anyways, yeah, you can offer citizenship or exile a citizen with this thing. It's so powerful. But it's also pretty hard to take it from the Chancellor. Because as you can see here, these blue dice, as I'll explain later, they're defense dice. And 5 of them is a lot. So if you want to take that thing, you're going to have to bring quite the army because the Chancellor is not just going to, leave it lingering there. Anyways, all I wanted to do was explain what was going on this little card here with the startup and what the difference is between the Chancellor and an exile. But that's basically the biggest differences while you're playing. The other difference that comes with it is there is this card, the Oathkeeper, which at this point, at the beginning of the game, it belongs to the Chancellor because they will have won the previous game, so they will have fulfilled the oath of the previous game. The oath is kind of the goal that you're playing to, even though oath has a bunch of goals that you can shoot for. But if you complete the oath, you win the game, really. It's the biggest goal in the game. And right now, the Chancellor is the Oathkeeper, which in this case means, you can see it on this card. So there's 4 of these cards, I think. So it's Oathkeeper of Supremacy. So the top thing on this card, depending on the game you're playing, determines what the big goal is. And if the game reaches 8 rounds and yeah, if you reach eight rounds, this is like gonna come into play, and it's really important. Whoever rules the most sites is probably gonna win the game at that point. So I'll explain in a little bit more detail in a second, but like that's kind of what at this point you want to focus on. Like, what are you doing in Oath? What is the goal? It's basically whatever's on this card. That's the big goal. But there are other more mischievous, more treacherous, really, ways to win the game as well. Okay. So, anyways, in this game, it's an Oathkeeper of Supremacy. So whoever rules the most sites is in good shape to win. I'll explain in a second why they're just in good shape and not immediately going to win. And whoever is meeting this requirement is going to be the Oathkeeper. And the Oathkeeper gives you 1 extra defense die, blue dice. I'll explain what those do at another point. And the cool thing is, if a citizen or the Chancellor has this, everything's fine. But if an exiled player has this, so most players in your first game, everybody will be an exile, so don't worry too much about the citizen thing at this point yet. But if an exile has the Oathkeeper, it gets flipped, and they become the Usurper. And the next round, if it becomes their turn and they are already Usurper, they automatically win the game. So that's a way that you can win. You can do whatever's on this card as an exile, hold it for 1 round so you become Usurper, and then on the next round, if you still meet this requirement, you win the game. So that's one way on how you can win by doing this thing, right? And as Usurper, you get extra defense dice as well. And it also prevents rolls to end the game. All right. So, yeah, I needed to have a drink there for a second, so I paused the video. But I'll do that plenty more times. So, okay, so that's the Oathkeeper thingy. You can steal that. Well, no, you can't steal this. You only get this if you meet this requirement. And if you meet this requirement, you get to take this right away. So right now, ruling the most sites, well, there's only purple warbands on there. And, well, maybe I should explain what ruling a site is really. So, to rule a site, you rule it when you have the most warbands on it. So that's basically what it comes down to. Like, if you have any numbers of your warbands on a site, oh wait, okay, I got a little confused there. Yeah, the actual official rule is you rule a site if you have any number of your warbands on it, and you can find that on page 8, or you can find it in the Oath reference site that I referred to. So right here, 10.21 is that rule. Now, I got a little confused there because I'm like, wait a minute. No, it's like when you have the most warbands, right? Doesn't that make more sense? Well, technically, you're never going to find yourself in a scenario where 2 players have warbands on a site, as far as I'm aware. I don't think that's ever happened in a game because when you bring in warbands, you've basically just taken away of somebody else's warbands. So yeah, there might be some weird cards that I haven't seen yet. But as far as I'm aware, there's only going to be 1 player at a site with warbands at any given time. So, but the actual rule is that if you have any warbands on a site, you rule the site. So right now, purple rules 3 sites. So they rule the most, and yeah, are the Oathkeeper. However, say that these guys weren't here, and red had this guy here and this guy there. So they've attacked the Chancellor, which is going to be called campaigning, but whatever. Then they have 2 sites and they have 1. So immediately red would grab this thing. I'm sure this is something that will be in the tutorial game, but might as well just show you right away while I'm explaining these things. So anyways, yeah, that's the Oathkeeper thingy. And with that, I think I've shown you everything there is to being a Chancellor. For the other characters, it's similar board, really similar board, except that you get a little bit less resources in the beginning. You only have the 14 warbands, and you don't start with any cool relics for your first game. And I don't think for the later games either. Actually, now that I think of it, but who knows? Okay, anyways, yeah, cool. Moving on. So you now know how to rule sites on the map. So I'm quickly checking page 8 here of the rule book, and that all looks pretty similar. I think the next thing that I should explain is how you win the game still. And that brings me to this little thing here. So this is the round tracker, and like in most board games, if you ever played a board game with a round tracker, it'll just, when everybody had their turn, you'll move forward, and this works fine for like the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it rounds? Yep, it's rounds. But after the 5th round, you cross a die, the purple die, and you should have a cool purple die if you got your copy of Oath already. And you know, when you roll that thing, if it is, oh, that's great. So if this were to happen, the game will end, and the Chancellor will win if they're the Oathkeeper. Hold on, let me check. Yeah. I remember what I did wrong here. So when this happens, so you pass this thing, you don't roll the die unless the Chancellor is the Oathkeeper. So that's the important thing that you have to remember about the round tracker. It only goes into play when a Chancellor is the Oathkeeper. Definitely got that rule wrong a whole bunch of times. But if you keep that in mind, you can roll. And in this case, the Chancellor is the Oathkeeper. So we roll, and I roll another 6. How do I do it? I don't know. I'm just really good at dice rolling games, I guess. But anyway, so this would end the game because the Chancellor is the Oathkeeper. And yeah, they rolled the 6, so it ends the game right now. If we would roll anything else, like a 3 or something, nothing would happen. We play another round. Then we pass this thing, and if the Chancellor is still Oathkeeper, we roll again. Please, 6. Ah, okay, so 3. That's weird. Anyways, if we were in that scenario that I explained earlier, though, where red would be Oathkeeper, so this would never come into play. It's only when the Chancellor is Oathkeeper. And if we get to here, at the end of this round, we don't go here, we end the game automatically. And then we are going to go back to discard, and we are going to flip it. There you go. And this explains what the victories are at the end. So first, the Empire wins if the Empire has the Oathkeeper. So I think it can also be a citizen. Doesn't matter too much for your first game, but I think whether it's a citizen that's Oathkeeper or the Chancellor is Oathkeeper, the Empire wins, and that's it. If that's not the case, if somebody is Usurper, now that would mean that the previous round, in the round that just ended, you became Usurper, and somebody else is Oathkeeper, like in a 6-player game, this could pretty easily happen. You win as the Usurper. So, you know, because the next turn that you would got and you would have won, so it's kind of, you know, only fair, because they're not, the Empire doesn't have the victory condition. You have the victory condition. Actually, you are the Oathkeeper, of course, because you're a Usurper. Ugh. These things all make a lot more sense if you're playing the game. But anyways, so that's the second one. The third one is the Visionary. Okay, so there are visions in Oath, and visions are these cards that are in the deck with the side cards. That are in the deck with the Denizen cards, the World deck as it's called. And when you draw a vision, and actually the top card here is already a vision. How do I know? Well, it has an eye on it because vision, right? The other ones have people on it because they're denizens. So makes a lot of sense. So the visions, actually, let me just pull this one and show you. So the visions look like this. There's 5 of them. And this one is the Vision of Conquest. So you imagine this conquest happening and all that kind of stuff. So you're ready to take on an Oath in the next game. So if you have this vision card, and you, in this case, Vision of Conquest is kind of the same as the Oath that we're going for, but there are other visions where the conditions are fairly different. But in this case, if you rule the most sides and you have the Vision of Conquest card, and at least 3 other visions have been drawn from the deck, actually, you'll keep track of that. Whenever a vision comes out, you'll move this thing up. This little marker. Anyways, we'll get back to that later or in the practice game or whatever. But, so if anybody in this scenario has a vision and they meet the criteria for the vision, they will win. Let me put the vision card back. I'm not going to explain any further. And then, if none of the above is there, the Empire wins. So yeah, it gets complicated when you get to the end of round 8 a little bit, but it will flow pretty smoothly once you get accustomed to it. But to sum that up, like the card says, if a citizen of the Chancellor are Oathkeepers, they win at the end of round 8. So if you're an exile, you want to finish the game before you get to the end of round 8, because unless you have somebody who is a Usurper, and then the Usurper will win. But if you're an exile and you're not the Usurper, you probably want to win before that happens. So you could win through a vision. With a visionary thing, so not the Empire or the Usurper, then we go to somebody with a vision. But like I said earlier, and I probably didn't explain that well, let me zoom in on this real quick. So if you have a vision and you meet these things, whenever you wake, so that's at the beginning of your turn, that's called waking, you win the game if you meet this thing, whatever's on the card. And it can be other stuff than just a supremacy conquest type of thing. So, you know, if you have that vision out, you are bound to win anyways. And if there's no usurper, and well, there's no Oathkeeper. I mean, this is all getting too complicated for me right now. But anyways, Visionaries will win if they meet the goals here. And Conquest beats Heart, beats Relics, beats Closed Eye. I'll explain what that is in a bit. And if none of these conditions exist, the Empire wins. Anyways, this is getting really, really confusing, I'm sure. But don't worry too much about it at this point. The main thing you want to keep in mind is this is kind of what you're playing for most of the game, unless you get like the Oathkeeper card, and then you'll be like, oh, this is cool, and like, okay, I'll flip this when I'm in exile. Oh, I can win the game now. So for your first game, don't worry too much about these things. The cards are pretty self-explanatory. If you draw a vision, you'll be like, oh, this is a victory condition, really cool. So anyways, that is how you can win the game. And there's one little thing that I didn't mention. There is always a successor goal as well, which is, really cool. So a successor means if a citizen meets this condition, they can win the game. And it's actually pretty straightforward. Everything applies that you saw on here, except if any citizen meets this thing, a win for the Chancellor is actually a win for that citizen. So in this case, if the Chancellor has everything set up, but there is a citizen with more relics and banners than anybody else, in this case, they will win the game instead of the Chancellor when the Chancellor's victory condition is met. Anyways, really nothing to worry about right now. I just want to point out why that's on there, because I'm sure else people will be thinking like, oh my god, what's that about? But there's a lot of paths to victory. To just sum it up really quickly, if you're the Chancellor, it's about keeping the oath that was set at the beginning of the game and holding on to it. If you're in exile, you can go for those visions, or you can take the oath away from the Chancellor and become Usurper. Or if you really want to be sneaky, you can become a citizen and then do that successor to the Chancellor thing. And lots of cool ways to win a game of Oath, I guess. But in general, I think for your first game, you just want to see if you can get a vision and complete that. Or otherwise, you just want to take away the oath from the Chancellor. And well, as soon as you do that, all hell will break loose, because the Chancellor is not going to let you go. So, anyways, here we go. That's a lot of information. But yeah, I think it's a lot of good stuff. And it gives you a lot more in-depth information. And hopefully this is still watchable. I mean, I know I'm talking for a long time, but hopefully it'll help you if you need the help for this type of stuff. So anyways, that is most of the preamble that you need to know, I think. Aside from that, I think what I want to talk about now first before we get anywhere are the different cards, because gosh, I felt that was tricky for me in the beginning as well. So let me show you these cards. And then we can get to the practice game. So you've already seen a vision, right? Looks like that. Then you got these cards. So these are the world deck, the Denizens. And as these come out, again, that reference is really helpful if you get stuck with these. But there are different types of them. And you can find that stuff in the rulebook or on that website that I showed you. But this is a battle plan. I know that this is a battle plan because it has this icon in this corner. This is just a regular Denizen, and this one is just a regular one too. Let me grab some cards real quick. Alright, so I got some cards out now. And actually, I've just learned that in the setup game, some of the more complicated cards are just not there, so I don't think you have to worry about them too much, and you'll see them when they get there. But I'm just going to pull them up anyways, because you're probably watching. I mean, I'm sure some people watching this video have already done the practice game and are still very confused about Oath. So, so here are some cards. So like I said, you already know what a vision is like. And then you've got these here. And this is kind of like... actually, I think if you look at those references that you got, you're going to have this thing. And that's really helpful, I felt. So cards have a suit, they have restrictions, they have a cost, and they have well, they call it a modifier icon because it modifies the actions that you can take in the game. So I think the card reference kind of explains everything, but if you are unfamiliar with Oath, I think just having the reference is not super helpful because it's very compact. So let me run you guys through this real quick. So there's 6 suits, and these make a lot of narrative sense. They're kind of like these powers going on in the world that you're trading favors with. But for practical reasons, you can just look at them as suits that you can look at favors and secrets as just currency. Um, Although you shouldn't want to do that because it messes with the flavor of the game a lot. But anyways, then you got these restrictions. So if a card has this thing on it, you can only play it next to a site. So that means you can only play it like, yeah, in like this location, like next to a site. So the big cards with the locations on it, those are sites, right? Um, if it has this icon, you can only play it to your advisors. So every board, Chancellor and these guys, they have room for 3 advisors. So, and if a card doesn't have like this symbol, you can play them to your advisors as well. You can even play them face down. If you don't want to show people what that card is yet, you can't use the ability when it's face down, but you can, like say if I were to draw these 3 cards, well, I would only get to take 1, so I don't want to mess with that right now too much. So don't think that at any point, unless there's a rule that lets you do that. But typically, you just get to pick 1 card. But like, yeah, you could have these 2 could like, one could be face up, the other one could be face down, like whatever. But the face down ones, you don't get to use. The face up ones, you do get to use. And this guy here, because of this funky 3 symbol, he can only go to his side. So this guy could end up here, but he can't end up here. Okay. All right, well, so that's that thing. Those are the restrictions. Now, there's also some with chains on them. That means that you're stuck with them for the rest of the game. Pretty much, like, unless some rule breaks that. I don't think I've seen a card break that rule, but I haven't seen all the cards yet. So, anyways, then there's what you need to pay to use the power. So cards have a power, they have an ability, and if there's like a favor on there, like you place 1 favor on the card. If there is already a favor on the card, you can't put down another favor to reactivate the power unless it's a battle plan, which I should not talk about yet, but we'll get to that. But I'm just going to say so much information and I'll repeat myself over and over and hopefully it'll stick for people who are struggling with this. Then there is burn 1 favor. So that means you put it back into the big bank. So there are the banks for every suit. So every suit has a couple of favors next to it. And they will, most of the time, whenever you use a favor, it'll end up back on one of these things, depending on what you activate. So say if I were to, is there anything with, yeah, here you go. So if I would, like, so the Elders card here, the suit of the Elders is Nomad. I always forget these names. Yes, it's Nomad. So, all right. So yeah, like, in the Rocky Coast, there live the Elders. And if you go to the Elders and you do 2 favors for them, so like basically in Legend of Zelda, you go get some root tea or something and you come back and they're like, oh, here, Elders, have some tea and some more tea because it's 2 favors. Then they will give you a secret. They will tell you something about the world and like, ooh. And then you can use that secret to gain more favors from people, by bribing them and stuff. So that's kind of the theme from how I play Oath. When I play Oath, that's what goes on in my head. But in a more, or in a less fun way, I'd say, it basically comes down, you put 2 of those favor pieces on here and you get one of those secrets, so those book pieces in return, right? So the way that will look like is like, well, you would actually play them from your board, and actually only the Chancellor has enough for that. So if the Chancellor puts 2 of these things on there, they would get a book, well, a secret. There you go. So, and now if somebody else comes here and these are still there, they can't use it. So, well, actually, it refreshes, but whatever. So that's how that kind of works. You pay for the action of whatever is there. Now, that's what happens with this thingy. If you need to burn, instead of paying, but there's no burn card out, but you would put it back in the common bank. So it wouldn't go, not these banks. These are the suit banks. That's important to understand. These are the banks associated with the suits. There's also a bank in Tabletop Simulator. It's right here. It's called Favor Supply. So that's where it goes when you burn something. It's basically out of the world. The favor is just dissipated in thin air. Same for secrets. when you burn them. So you might also have to place a secret. And secrets, so the cool thing is what they don't explain very well in the rulebook, I feel. I mean, I think the rulebook's actually pretty great, but I struggle with that a little bit where I didn't really get what the difference between favors and secrets was. And well, favors, when you use them, they end up back in those banks with the suits. The secrets, however, they go back to your board. So a secret is it's a better kind of currency, but you can't use it for everything. Thematically, it wouldn't work that way. So having like 2 secrets at the beginning of the game as soon as possible is really good. You like when you play the game, go get some secrets, because secrets are easy to convert to favors as well. Because you know stuff about people, and then they'll do stuff for you because you're just like, well, if you don't do this for me, I'll go tell your mom, and there you go. So, but sometimes you burn a secret, you just forget about it, and then it gets returned to the shared bank. So yeah, anyways, so that's the powers, and then there's the modifier icon, and the modifier icon is called that way because cards that have them, those 2 actually have one, but I'm seeing if there's, okay. These are, oh, actually cool, yeah. So this one here has this symbol on there, and this one here has that symbol on there. Now, this is actually a battle plan, but we'll get to that. But for people who know a little bit more about Oath, like, that's a battle plan. Yep, it is. So those symbols correspond to the different actions that you can take. So this symbol here, the little flag, that's called muster. So yeah, so this denizen, this card from the world deck, when you use it, it's actually an advisor. When you use this advisor, it will modify what you can do in your muster action. That's what that means. When you use the mercenaries, it will modify what you can do in your campaign action. Campaign is attacking, it's fighting. So that's what this looks like. And that's why they're called modifiers. Yeah, I mean, it's all really straightforward if once you get the hang of it a little bit. Now you might be like, hey, what about this card here? That looks kind of different, right? Yeah, it looks kind of different, all right. So this is more like an event card. It happens automatically. Like when you play this card, when you put it on a site, so it's not like you play it and it goes back on the deck or gets discarded. It actually just goes somewhere. In this case, to a site. And yeah, you may do stuff. Then you might swap Great Herd with any Nomad card at any site. Like it's Magic the Gathering all over again. But yeah, so that's what that does. And that happens automatically or immediately when you play it. All right, I'm going to put these cards back here for a second because I stole them. Because these were starting cards for these characters. So let's, boom. All right, and that's kind of what the cards look like, or the world cards look like. I think most of those should make sense to you now. Let me open this here real quick. The only thing is like, there are some that have like a thick black braided band on them, but I think most of those are edifices. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure... No, actually they're not. This is not an edifice. So whenever you see this thick black thing, I'm just going to say that right away, because if anybody's playing and they're not doing the tutorial game, this might be confusing. So this means that this applies, I think, to the entire world even. Let me check that real quick. So yeah, it's a thick braided card, and it affects all the players, so regardless of access, that are referred to on the card. So all your enemies' battle plans, like it doesn't matter where those battle plans are. I mean, might be cryptic right now, I don't know, but those are more complicated cards, and and then there's edifice cards that you should definitely like. They're not going to come into play until after your first, maybe even after your second game. I don't know, but yeah. Aside from that, I'm sure. We can move on now. I mean, this is a lot more information than what Leader Games gives you. And for good reason. They're not trying to overcomplicate this. And I don't know for how long I've been talking, but I'm going to hit an hour pretty quickly. So here we go. The last thing I wanted to do is talk a little bit about the side cards, I guess. So here we are. This is a side card. There's tons of them. These abilities, check the reference for what that does. Don't worry about it. You don't have to learn this right now. On every site, there are going to be warbands, which are identifiable by this tiny little thing that you can't even see under all these arrows. I'm going to scoot over and I'm going to use the magnifying glass. Can you see it like this thing? This thing? Yeah, that is how you need to remember that there are warbands. Like, probably my least favorite design feature, but I can understand that they didn't make it big enough. But, I mean, maybe when I actually have the game in my hands, I'm going to be like, oh, that's plenty big. But, like, on Tabletop Sim, oh my gosh, you don't see this at all. But, designing for Tabletop Sim is very different than designing for tabletop. So yeah, but every empty side, so there's nothing here, or actually, let me do it this way. If a new side gets uncovered and there are no warbands there, so keep in mind, warbands and pawns, different things. Like these cool big pieces, pawns. The smaller ones, warbands with the flag. So if there are no warbands, nobody rules the site. I've already explained that. So the pawn in itself is not enough to rule a site. Yeah, then this little symbol here is literally there to remind you that bandits rule the side, which is super thematic and super cool. But it's almost like, I mean, I'm actually thinking maybe I'll 3D print some different colored pieces or something I can just put on every side as a bandit for new players, because it's going to make life so much easier for them. But yeah, bandits. There's one bandit because that's what the site says, and maybe if hopefully we'll see an expansion for Oath, because I would love an expansion for this game. It's so good. But if we get some extra warbands on there, that'd be really cool. But right now, every side card only has one of these, so only one warband on every empty site. And to put your warbands on an empty site, it's not just moving in. You have to beat the bandits, right? So that's one thing. And then there is one blue die, and I've already said over and over, those are the defense dice, and a lot of defense dice are hard to beat. So yeah, if you're attacking somebody who rules, or even I think if you're trying to take a side away from somebody, let me put it that way, you need to add this one blue die. Right, so that's why that icon is there. This thing here, that means that there is room for 2 cards. So 2 cards, room for here, room for 3 cards, room for 2 cards. The relics don't count to that. It's only these kind of cards, okay? So you could totally have like this happen in a game. Well, Tabletop Simulator makes them snap, which is really cool, but also annoying if you have a card with 3 spaces and a relic, but that never happens actually. That doesn't exist in the game. I checked. But in this case, yeah, this guy could have 2, so this would be legal. Down here, you could have 3 of them, and so forth. And yeah, there you go. That's what that is for. Last thing, this thing here. That's what you have to pay to grab a relic. So here, there is no R, because I already explained that. If you see this symbol, whatever's in this corner is what is going to spawn on the site. And some of these might be favors and secrets. But if it's an R, that means relic. So that means you get one face down relic appearing here when the site gets revealed. And for a player to grab that thing, they're going to have to pay the cost here, which I'll explain when I'll go over the actions. And yeah, that's everything on the side card. So these things are not in the rulebook, I think. You have to check your references, and they're explained in detail here. I didn't find any of these to be too confusing. But, you know, Woodland Warriors, if you're playing the game, the Discord server that they have, or, you know, ask on Board Game Geek or whatever. So, yeah. Cool. That's all the cards. All right, so before I continue, maybe I should just... These references are really good. Like, use them. But... rules of use are really helpful, because what does access mean? A lot of cards will talk about access. So access mean that you can use the powers of cards at your side and cards that you rule. So if you have at your side means wherever your pawn is, and you ruling means either I think your advisors, yeah, you rule all your advisors. Oh, it's literally the next sentence. But also where your warbands are. Those are the ones that you rule. So in this case here, like the Chancellor, they rule the longbows. And here they rule the Taming Charm because this guy is there. However, in this scenario, this guy doesn't rule the Taming Charm, but does have access to Taming Charm because the pawn is there. However, as soon as a warband comes out, they actually rule the site, and they also have access to it that way. So you can be in different locations and still rule sites if your warbands are there and have access to certain things. So that's cool. So that's accessing cards. Excuse me, exhaustion. So if a card has favors or secrets on it, you cannot place any more favors or secrets on it for any purpose, but you can still use its power if it has no cost. So, you know, let me see here. Is there any example of that? Not really. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to move on from there, I guess. But that's an important rule. The only thing that breaks this rule of exhaustion is the battle plan, which says here. And you can recognize battle plans because they have the campaign icon and the red braided thingy. So That's why I said this is a battle plan. Oh, it's not red always, sorry. But the braided thing with campaign. So it's basically campaign modifier. So it's going to be red or blue typically. So because this is the blue means that it's a defensive battle plan, and the red ones are the offensive battle plans. All right. So cool. Actually, for color blindness, it might be difficult to see which ones are offensive or defensive, but typically the text kind of clarifies that. And there's also the battle dies that are on there. Like if it looks like this, if it has a skull, if you can't differentiate between red and blue, the skull means it's offensive. The blue ones have shields on them. Okay. Anyways, hopefully that helps somebody. So yeah, the battle plans break those rules. And then payment outside of turn. If you pay for a power outside of your turn, you move the favor to its bank immediately, and you flip secrets, but you keep them on your board. So that might get a little confusing at some point as well. But there are certain cards that allow you to use abilities while it is somebody else's turn. So whenever that happens, say if you have some favor here, like say this guy got 2 favors, say it's a discord card that he has to pay favor for, then he would just put them into the discord pile that comes with it. However, if it's a secret that you have to pay, so let's say he already has a secret, instead of putting the secret on the card, like for example, I think Taming Charm has a secret. Like yeah, if you want to use Taming Charm on your turn, you will put the secret on there. But if it's not your turn, you will just flip it. And that happens more often than, well, mostly that's for battle plans. Like if it's not your turn and you're being attacked and you have a defensive battle plan like this one, which allows you to move warbands from and to your board in the middle of a battle, instead of putting these on there, you would just flip them so that you know that you can't use them anymore until they refresh. And there's a refresh phase for these things. But yeah, if you use something outside of your turn, you can't use it in the upcoming turn. Anyways, so much information. So then the campaign summary. So this is how you fight. Just pull this thing up whenever you fight somebody. All right. Lots and lots of in-depth information. All right, let's go into this little bit here. So these are the actions that you have. So this is the last thing, and then I can get to the play game, really. I need to come up with a way to teach people this game in 20 minutes, because I think it's totally doable, but I'm going to have to tell people a lot less information. It's quite to teach. It's a big game. But everybody's turn goes like this. You wake, and you do whatever it says here. Then you act, and you act by spending supply, and your supply is here. So say, for example, I want to do a muster, right? I am going to pay 1 supply, and then I can do a muster. And whatever that is written here. If I want to do a campaign, cool. Pay 2 supply, and so on. If I don't have supply left, I can't pay for it. When I get to... So when I've taken all the actions that I wanted, I can get to the rest phase. And in the rest phase, I'm going to return all the favor that I've spent. So let's say... I'm going to give this guy his starting favor. There we go. So now he's got a starting secret and a starting favor, and I'm going to grab the 3 starting warbands. There we go. So let's say that this guy, all right, took this one out and got this one here, and geez, and yeah, this guy was taken out as well, and he has this one. So he's spending a secret here, and wait, all right. So first off, I need some extra coin. So I'm gonna trade. So trading means spend 1 supply. There we go. And then I can spend my secret. So I'm gonna put it on an empty card at my side. So it says that right here. Empty card at my side. Plays a secret. And then I gain 1 favor plus 1 extra favor per matching advisor. But I have no advisors yet, so I'm just gonna get 1 favor. And since I'm putting it on a card of this suit, of the arcane suit, I get the favor from the arcane thingy here. Cool. So next up, I want to talk to the elders and get another secret. So I am going to do another trade, and I am going to put that here. Spend my secrets. 2 secrets. Because 2 secrets on a trade are worth 1 2 favors on a trade are worth 1 secret per matching advisor. Oh dear, I have no matching advisors with the nomads. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. Okay, let's say this is what I had, right? So in this case, I have 1 nomad, so I would be able to grab 1 secret. Cool. So then I grab the secret, and all right, that gives you some idea while I run through this. So now I have a secret, and they come in face up, and they're immediately usable. So that's really cool too. So all right. I did 2 trades. I used supplies for that. Cool, cool, cool. Awesome. Now, let's say I go to the rest phase, because I'm not going to explain all of these. I'm going to explain rest first. So at rest, the first thing you do is you return all of the favors that are on cards to the favor banks of the matching suits. So, cool. I am going to return these to nomads, because matching suit, this card is a nomad card, and this is a nomad bank. And then the secrets, that's the next step. So let me zoom in on that. Return all of those to your board and flip up any face down ones. Okay, so say I had used this before, now I get to flip it up again. So that one comes back, cool. And then refresh your supply based on the warbands remaining in your bank. So right now in my bank I have 11 warbands, so that means I can get refreshed to 9 plus. However, since I was here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actions that or 5 supply that I didn't use. So I actually get to go up here, and I would be able to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but there's no more space, so I just get to go up 1. But if I were, like, let's say I ended my turn here, and I have, or actually here, and I have 11 warbands, so that means I get to refresh up to 9, and then I had 1 left, so I get to do 1 more here. Now, if I have less warbands, like say I would have, I would be here at the end of my turn, and I would have 3 warbands, I would go to 3. And I had 2 spots left, so that means I get to go to 9 plus. So that's how the supply thing works. Like, wherever you end, you just keep in mind how much you had left over, and then you put it to wherever your warbands are at. So 9 plus, 8 to 4, or 3 to 0. So let's say 8 to 4, but I had 2 lefts, and then you get to put it wherever. Yeah, you can add those to it. So anyways, that's how that works. All right, I'm gonna clean up this board real quick because this is kind of a mess, and I still want to do that learning game for you guys because that goes pretty quickly. So, all right, starting thing again. So that's the rest phase. So that's how your turn works at the beginning. You wake, and then actions, and then you rest. All right. Cool. So what are the different actions? Well, because I kind of want to give you guys a little bit of extra information on those. So searching. Searching means that you draw 3 cards from this deck. However, and that's super important, you draw 3 cards from your deck or from any discard pile. All right. So these are the discard piles. And the thing in Oath that you always have to remember is you discard to the next the next region, I believe it's called. So there's a region for Cradle, Provinces, and Hinterland, and you move it to wherever it's next. So let's say I'm the Chancellor and I'm drawing from the World deck. I draw 3 cards and I only get to keep 1, so I pick 1, and 2 need to be discarded. Where would I discard them? Right here, because my pawn is here. So they wouldn't be immediately here. However, you know, I don't have to search the World deck if I take a search action. I could also just search wherever I am in the discard pile. So that's one thing. That's what searching is. And searching can be 2 to 4 supply. So if you're getting it from the discard pile, it's always going to be 2, because right here on your board, it will say that. But if you are getting it from here, it depends on how many visions have been revealed. So at the start of the game, you're here, and it's only going to cost you 2 to search the World deck. But once you've seen a vision, it's going to cost 3. And once 3 visions have been seen, it's going to cost 4. And once you have 5 visions out, you know there are no more visions in the game. So that's why there are more than 3 on the tracker here. So you know exactly how many to expect. Also, super important. These little stars, that means you need to put stuff there when you're setting up the game. And you'll see those all over the place. Like even when you grab all of these guys, see there's a little star there because you have to put 3 plus maybe extra depending on how many players you have. So that's what that symbol means. And yeah, so look for those symbols, like even on the player boards, there's a little star again. That means that this is what you have to give to players at the beginning of every game. So anyways, that's the first action, the search action. Then there's the muster action. So the muster action is basically on an empty card at your side. So where your pawn is, you place, oh God, I did my trade wrong because my pawn wasn't there. It was Warbands. So errata, I knew I was going to mess something up. I couldn't have done what I did earlier with the moving because my pawn would have to have been here, and then I would have had to move my pawn here, and then I could have taken that action. So that was a major mess up that I made. So just keep that in mind. That was wrong. I'll try to remember to highlight that in the video. So on an empty card at your side means your pawn, not your warbands. Okay? I think. Oh, now I'm getting really confused. Good thing that cool website is there. So you just type in your site and then glossary, boom, boom, boom. Right here, your side region is the side region that your pawn is in. So I was wrong the first time, right the second time. Your side is where your pawn is, not where your warbands are. Okay? Right, worker placement. So anyways, on empty card at your site, you can do this type of stuff. Cool, cool, cool. So that is trading and mustering at empty start. So for one favor, you can get 2 warbands if you muster and trade. And like, yeah, you know, so like I said earlier, you could trade. So if you put a secret on Taming Charm, it doesn't mean that you have to do the power. You could just do a trade or you could even do a muster here. Like, it doesn't matter what's on here at all. Like, if you want to muster on the Taming Charm, yeah, it's cool. The only thing is, like, once there's stuff on here, for the remainder of your turn until you refresh, you're not going to be able to use that power anymore. So you have to really think through these things. Like, lots of interesting choices in this game when you're figuring out how much supply you're going to be using. Anyways, recover. That's how you get your relics. So choose a relic at your side, the side where your pawn is, the People's Favor or the Darkest Secret, pay its cost and take it. Oh dear, what did I just do? I mentioned the 2 things that shan't be named. These are really the most difficult things for me in the entire freaking game. I think I got a good grasp of them, but this is what you're probably going to struggle with the most. It's the banner of the People's Favor and the banner of the Darkest Secret. They are super cool. They make Oath really awesome. They add so much depth to the game, but wrapping your head around them was so hard for me. So how do you set these up? Well, first, let's do that, because I don't even know if that's even in the play game or something, or in the setup. But 1 coin on People's Favor, 1 coin on the Darkest Secret. Now, conceptually, how does this work, or thematically? The People's Favor is basically how good you are as a populace. This is how popular you are with the people of the land. So that means that people will go at ridiculous lengths to be your denizen, like to do stuff that, you know, helps you. They will, yeah, you have their favor, they love you, right? So that's the banner of the People's Favor. Whoever holds that will be able to move denizens around and move cards around. That's basically what it comes down to. But it basically just indicates that people freaking love you. But it's also, it can get reclaimed by somebody else through power, because, you know, people like tyrants somehow, I guess. And it can also it can also very easily be reclaimed by just putting a lot of money or a lot of favor towards it. But it really feels like money here, like you're just buying the people's favor. But like, yeah, you bow the people's favor by doing the people more favor. So the more popular you make yourself, you can take it away from somebody. So anyways, that's what you have to picture. That's why that thing's in the game. It's not just there to mess with us. And then there's the banner of the Darkest Secret. Oh my gosh. I think this one's a little easier. Like, it's like the most ridiculous thing that, like, if you know this, you're super powerful. Because if you know the Darkest Secret, you only have to spend 2 supply to get cards from the world deck, which is super good. So both of these are super good in their own right. And then to make it even better, there's a vision for each of them, and there's oath for them as well. So holding these things can make you Oathkeeper if you, instead of having the Oath of Supremacy, you have a different oath. Like, yeah, it could be Oath of, I don't know, Oath of the People's Favor, whatever it's called. Oath of Devotion or something, I think it is. But yeah, then all you need to do to win the game is hold this thing long enough. So yeah, they're super powerful. They're tied to win conditions, and they let you do outrageous stuff on their own. But they're also really easy to take from people, and to, you know, they're hard to keep a hold of. So the way they work is like, as this copy is just so, what the heck? Like, I had to read that over and over and over. So the idea is, like, remember, modifiers, right? So these are the what's it called? The recover. So they modify these actions. So for one, to grab them, you want to do the recover action. Then you grab them, right? And then the goal is that for the People's Favor, let me do that one first. You put more favor there than the old favor. So in this case, if you, at any point, you have 2 favors, you can just grab this guy. And then, you know, like, say, I don't know, let me copy paste a little bit here. Like, oops, I'm not copying the entire card, but like, let's say yellow has 2 favors, right? Yellow could just be like, oh, super cool. I'm going to put more favor on here than it there originally was. I'm going to put 2 on there, grab that thing. Oh, wait, well, they would still pay one supply as a recover action, right? But that's how it would work. You would grab that thing. The old favor goes off of it, and it goes back in the favor banks one by one, starting with any suit. So you decide what suit you're gonna put it in. Super powerful ability as well, because these things will deplete, and then like the economy kind of works that like if you build your economy around, like, let's say you build your economy around arcane cards, right? You have all these really powerful arcane cards and you use them to build your warbands and you use them to all these powerful actions. Well, as you start using them, you're putting favors towards them and they might come back, but then people might dig into them and move them into other places as well. And before you know it, that bank is just empty. With this, when you grab the people's favor, whatever amount of favor is on there, you can just be like, and I'm dropping in some in my favorite suits. So that's already a really powerful ability. The other one is, well, once you do that, so this would go to any suit you want. So let's say I'm going to put it on Nomad because I love Nomad as yellow. And then now there's two on there. Now the only thing is, like, the people's favor has a wake action, and thankfully they printed it on here, because if they hadn't, like, I already forget this so often, and it's printed right in front of my player board. But yeah. So whenever you wake, read this thing. That would be my advice. Whenever you wake, actually read your player board, especially for your first couple of games. So check the people's favor if you have it. And what it'll tell you is, the people are always hungry for more favors. They need you to do what they want you to do. So you must put one favor here, or you have to move one of these favors back out to the favor bank with the least favor on it, right? So that's a little tricky, but it's basically like, yeah, the favor just goes back to the people rather than the banner. Thematically, you just need to get used to it, honestly. The other thing is, like, if you end up just putting favor on here and you go over 6, you flip that thing. And when you flip it, the people start rioting because you gave too much power to the people, and now the people are just basically taking whatever the heck they want. So now they're rioting, and like, yeah, whenever you wake, they have you do that thing with the favor twice. So you need to give them extra favor to keep them in line, or they are gonna bring it down really quickly as well. And yeah, it's a mop at that point. So anyway, that's a people's favor. That's kind of how that works. It's a mechanic that's super cool. And like, yeah, in this scenario, like, say if this happens, if somebody has like 3 favor, they can just take it on their turn as a recover action. Like, and if somebody has 5 favor, they can put 5 favor on it to just increase the cost for future players. So that's also a strategy. Like, I wouldn't really, unless I really need the people's favor for the ability that it has, I wouldn't just grab it right away with just 2 favor, because somebody else is going to take it right away back. So it's not that useful. However, the ability is, though. So sometimes you might want to do that, because the ability messes with the search. I already explained. So when you play to a site, you may first discard a denizen card at any site in your region, and you may then play to any site in your region. So that's super powerful, right? Like, say the Chancellor is here and there's some sites open, like, you can just put a denizen, like, right there if it's an open site. While otherwise you would have to put it here. So that is super powerful. And being able to discard things from sites that are really helping people, because, like, if you have a lot of, like, if there's a lot of denizens at a site that match the suits of your advisors, you can get a lot of secrets and a lot of favors and a lot of warbands. No, the warbands don't really apply. Well, indirectly also. So, like, yeah, you might want to clean that stuff up and make life harder on somebody else, and the people's favor banner lets you do that. That's the people's favor. I have nothing else to say about it. If it still doesn't make sense, you're going to need a game for it. But the general idea is, now you just put stuff on and you just take it. And I think that's the thing that was missing from me. The other thing is, it has one line that confused the heck out of me too. When seized, flip and do this stuff here. Now they added it to the rulebook. When I first played Oath, it wasn't in the rulebook yet. But so basically what that means, to seize is when somebody takes it by force. So if somebody takes it by putting more favor on it than that was already on there, you don't seize it, you don't have to flip it. But if somebody fights you for it, and actually the amount of defense dice you get for defending the people's favor is literally the amount of favor that's on there. So there's 10 favor on there, which I've totally seen happen. Like 10 blue dice. Like, yeah, that's a lot of fun to fight against. So, anyways, but when it gets seized, 2 favors from here get burned and are taken out of the global economy, which is not good. I mean, I don't like that. I hate it when that happens. But anyways, Darkest Secret, less complicated, thankfully. The special action for the Darkest Secret is that you spend 2 supply whenever you draw from the world deck, so that's super, super, super powerful, and I already mentioned that. The idea, again, is you put more secrets on here than that there were already on there, but there is a caveat. You can only recover it when there is a card at your site that does not match any of your advisors. What is that? Basically, the way I see, I mean, thematically, it makes sense to me. Like, if there are people at your site that are not of the same faction, of the same suit as your advisors, people might start talking and they might tell stuff that they didn't want to hear, and all of a sudden, the Darkest Secret is out, right? So, you can protect the Darkest Secret from anything as long as you're at a site that matches. Well, as long as all your advisors, I believe, match all the cards at the site. So, like, yeah. Oh God, I'm really confusing this thing. You just have to read it, I guess. So yeah, if there's a card at your side whose suits does not match any of your advisors, so kind of what you want to do is make sure that if you go to a site that your advisors cover whatever suits are there, and then you're fine, and nobody can take it from you. And that's really how you can protect it. With the People's Favor, there's no way. Like, if people put more favor on it, it's gone. With the Darkest Secret, you can kind of be smart about it and go to places where people can, where people will just protect the Darkest Secret, because nobody is gonna talk behind anybody's back. But like, if there are people that are not really part of the community and they're listening, the Darkest Secret could go real fast. So anyways, same thing. Yeah, put more on it and you can take it, and you can overload it as well. Wow, all that for the recover action, eh? That's a lot more than in the rulebook. But anyways, campaigning. Campaigning is attacking, and gosh, that is pretty complicated. I think I would rather just teach that through the example in the playbook, but I think this thing really explains it well. I never had problems with campaigning, honestly. I just followed these rules here. I think the toughest part is just declaring the targets. Like, this is kind of tricky, because you need to tell them, like, okay, I am targeting this, and if they rule the site where your pawn is at, you must target the site. So that means that they get an extra blue defense die, and that means that you are gonna take away all their warbands if you end up winning. But anyways, I'm not gonna get too much into that. But that's how you attack other people, and that's how you take sites from them. And traveling, yeah, yeah. Traveling is pretty cool. So this is how traveling is really conceptualized. Well, not like that, like so. So this is what the world of Oath really looks like. I love this diagram, honestly. That everything made so much sense. Like, you've got the cradle, which is right up here, and there can be there's 2 sites at the cradle, and going from that one side to the next, because the cradle is kind of small, like, it's only 1 supply. However, if you want to go to the provinces, that's going to be 2 supply, because now you're traveling to another region. And, since it's a concentric circle, there's more space in between them. So it's 2 to move between the sites at the provinces. If you go to the hinterlands, even bigger. Now it's 3 to move between the sites. But it's still 2, because this distance is kind of the same. And if you want to go from the hinterlands back to the cradle, well, you have to go through the provinces first. Now, you never stop in between, though. You would take this route, and you go immediately. So, that's a conceptualization of it. This is what it looks like on the board. But these things kind of explain it. So this means if you want to travel to another site in the same region, so like if the Chancellor wants to go here, you would basically flip this card, and oh, now I have to put a ruin down. Oh God. And there's room for 1 card here. That's cool. And to take the ruin, I need to do all this stuff. And the wastes have this thingy. You can look up what that really means. Or actually, why not explain it? I'm at it. I'm over-explaining most things anyways. So that's this one here. It's a homeland site. So it has the Discord symbol on it and a secret, I believe. Was that what happened there? No, and a relic, right? So the Discord symbol, this thingy. So this means if you bring in a denizen, so if you bring in a card here of the Discord variety, let's see. So let's say I would play mercenaries here. That means that I get a relic, straight up. Okay, So that is the ability of that site. And again, you can read those abilities here. And I hope I did it correctly, but I believe so. Like, yeah, you can take the... Oh, sorry, I was wrong. Ah, dang it. Not from here. You take this relic without having to pay for it. So that's super cool. But anyways, what I was actually trying to explain is for one supply could go here and then you flip it up as you go there. And there would be a warband. You wouldn't rule it yet until you actually campaign here against the bandits. All right, if I want to go here, so that is the thing in the middle, so that's 2. And if I want to go here, that's 3. Now, if I were to wanted to go here, sorry, I said 3, I meant 4. That's also 4. So you don't have to go to an open site. You can just go to any site. I hope I'm not wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure. That's at least how I've been playing it for a while now. So yeah, I could totally just reveal this thingy here, pay 4, because the supply is so oh, frick, it's a narrow pass. I think that would still apply, but the narrow pass is a really cool site, but it also has an extra rule, and I don't... Like, you have to go through the narrow pass once that thing's revealed to go to any other site in the same region. But anyways, so that's how you would move around like so, and like, yeah, so this is go to a province, this is go to a site in the same region, this is go to the next region, and this is go to the further region. And you can see the same thing kind of here, so like if you're traveling, because that's what the boot means, for this one you pay 2 to go here, 2 to go in here, and 2 to go there. And here you pay 3 to go to any one of these here, 2 to go here, and 4 to go here from the hinterlands. So again, it's literally the same numbers that you would see here. If you need any help with the conceptualization, this is the way to look at it. And that is, dear friends, how you travel. So move your pawn from side to side, flip it if it's face down, blah, 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 blah. Then we got the minor actions. So minor actions is playing or discard a face down advisor. So when you search the world deck, you can draw 3 cards and you can play one to your side or your advisors, and to your advisors you can play them face down. However, you need to stop drawing when it's a vision. So if there's a vision, like this is the only card you draw and that's what you can get. If you don't want it, you would, if I were to be the yellow player, well, I would have to be somewhere. So if I were here, like I said, you discard in the next pile. So that would go there. But let's say I'm not drawing a vision. I would do 1, 2, 3. Wait, I'm putting them on my advisors inadvertently. No, that's not how you... Here we go. I would draw these and I'd be like, ooh, what do I want to do? Oh, I guess I would like to have the Inquisitor. All right, so now I have the Inquisitor advisor. And then these 2, I'll grab those and they'll go on the discard pile here. Anyways, so that would be my my search action if I were to take it. Now, with the advisors, the way you could put them face down, like if I would have taken this, I could put it face down if I don't want to show it. Like a lot of the times when you get one of these, you don't immediately want to play it. So revealed visions go up here on your player board. But once that is out, everybody knows what you want to do. So it's typically smart to just be like, well, I've got a vision. I don't know what it is. Do you know? So there you go. Yeah, that's how you play those things. Let's put this back, probably the wrong order, whatever. All right. But yeah, that's playing to your advisor, and playing to the sides is putting them next here. Just keep in mind this number here. That's the amount you can put there at most. All right. Yeah, so if you have a face down one, a minor action that doesn't cost any supplies to play it. So to play it, yeah, like, oh, I almost forgot to, like, is this one a good one? Yeah. So let's say I got my face down advisor here. And I play it. What I could do when I play it is, like, let's say, yeah, he's here. I'm going to put it here. When I play it, yeah, I could put it to a side, or, oops, I could play it as a face-up advisor. So that's what that means. Now, you have to keep in mind, though, if you play it to a side, there's a rule that's easy to forget. But whenever you play it to a side, you get favor, because the sides like to get denizens. So you get a favor from the suit that you just played. So in this case, yellow would get this guy. All right. Cool, cool, cool. I really hope this is going to help somebody, because I could have been playing Oath instead of doing this entire explanation. All right. Anyways, I'm still having fun. I hope so are you. What's next? Oh, yeah, here I was. So minor actions, then the use action card. So you can use an action card. You can peek at relics at your site. So like yellow in this case can peek at this guy here, but wouldn't be able to. Well, this should be face up if there's one here. Wouldn't be able to peek at this one. Let's put that back. So yeah, you can just peek. What is it? Ooh, a circlet of command. Cool. Move warbands between your boards and the site you rule. So right now I'm not ruling this site. So I would have to campaign, beat the Chancellor, and then where my pawn is, I can always bring guys in and out like so. These guys are kind of your bodyguards. Like you kind of want to keep them on your board a lot as well. Like if you have a site that you want to have under control, you want to move some warbands over there. But a lot of the times I find that because your pawn can just get targeted and then they're just fighting against whatever's on your board. So just think of the warbands on your board not as inactive ones. They're your bodyguards. And if somebody is going to like say you're the Chancellor, that's a good example, and they want to take the scepter away from you, like, yeah, these guys on your board are going to defend the scepter for you. So make sure you get some of those guys on your board as well. It's not like, oh, let's, like in a area control type of game, like where you're immediately trying to get your troops out. Oath is not like that. I mean, at least not when I've played it. I'm not a very good player at it yet or anything, but as far as I've played, like, yeah, you don't want to just push all your warbands out in the world and then your pawn gets attacked and you lose everything you own. So don't do that. But yeah, so those are minor actions, and that's everything that's on the card. You know how this works now. If you get attacked, they might banish you, and then you get 2 blue dice if they're trying to banish you. And if you lose, you move your pawn to wherever they tell you to go, because you're being banished, and you burn half of your favor. It's nasty getting banished. And that are all of the rules of Oath, with the exception of how you chronicle. Yeah, we did it. So, okay, let me open the rulebook here real quick for a second. Like, yeah, I think I explained all these things, all these actions. So I think these are explained pretty well. So, okay, let's quickly have a look at that walkthrough thingy. So it starts with the Chancellor. So the first action in the walkthrough, so I'm looking at page 18 of the rulebook. And they are talking about to draw from the deck, search the deck as the first action that they're going to do. Why is there a vision on top here? There shouldn't be a vision here. Did I mess this up? Okay, well, if this thing is not the same as the rulebook, I guess I can't use it much right now. But I kind of already explained these things, so, well, maybe, yeah, I don't know. I'll try to go with it a little bit and see. So, okay, the first action that the Chancellor is taking is drawing from the deck. So let's draw from the deck, and we would get 3 cards. And I'm just gonna tell you what I would do if I was a Chancellor. Oops, there we go. Yeah, I'm just gonna put them here instead of my hand, because else I'll have to change players all the time. So I don't even know if these are the same cards. So I am just gonna shuffle this vision back in here so that it wasn't there, because it looks like they just drew 3 cards. I probably shouldn't have shuffled. Oh, well. So yeah, the first thing you do when you draw is you're gonna do 2 actions. So the Chancellor is the same as all the exiles, really. The only difference is these numbers are higher. Like, if you remember, it's 9 for an exile. Well, here it's 18 to get to that spot. So anyways, I pay 2. I get to pick a card. And they say I'll keep Garrison. Oh, jeez. There's already cards here. Is Garrison one? Oh, Garrison's one of those. Yeah, okay. So I don't think that this is exactly the same as the playbook anymore. Jeez. Well, I tried. I probably messed up, but I'll, why not? So they play Garrison here. So to play, so these were the 3 cards that the Chancellor drew, I guess. So they drew Garrison and they played it here, which makes sense because there is that little tree thing. So that means you must play it to a side. It's not just optional. And it's when play, gain 1 warband per side you rule and put 1 warband from your board on each side you rule. So, okay, that's really cool. So we rule 3 sides right now. So I would get 3 guys. They go to your board. And then 1 to each side you rule. So I rule here, I rule there, and I rule there. And boom. That's how Garrison works, really. So the other 2 cards, we grab those. Boom. And we discard them. And where do we discard them to? Well, you've been paying close attention, so you would know that it's the next discard pile. Not this one. This one. All right. So I did the garrison thing. It went to the plains. There's a restriction of 3 in the plains, so we're fine. We can put another card here if we wanted it to. And then they're going to, let's see. They are going to grab a favor. Oh yeah, of course. So the next step is, because we played to the side, remember, whenever you play to a side, you get favors. So here we go. Chancellor gets favor. The Chancellor actually already should have had 2 favors, so I don't know where I put those, but here we go. Now the Chancellor has 2 favors, and they got an extra one from here. And now that I think of it, they're probably up here. So let's bring this down to how many? 6 Nomad. That's a lot. Okay, there's definitely not 6 Nomad here. Whatever, Tabletop Simulator. Here we go. Confusing all the people at home. All right, the millions of people watching this right now. So, yeah, we grabbed that one thing, and then they resolved the garrison's power. So, you know, in the rule book, they're doing everything according to the book. I'm just playing it, really. But, yeah, so the action would happen after you've done all the other stuff. So then they're going to do a trade. So they're going to do a trade, so that means supply, and they are going to trade for favor. All right. So they're gonna trade for favor, so they can just put a secret on any of these, but they decide to go on garrison. The reason why you would go on garrison, actually, there's not any real big reason for it right now. So it doesn't really matter, because there's nothing here that you're blocking off by putting a favor on there. If you'd played a taming charm, if you were here, because you can only do it where your pawn is, like I messed up earlier. But if you played the taming charm, you wouldn't be able to do the power anymore afterwards. So that's why we're putting it here. So, all right, we are sharing a secret with the garrison. Ooh. And in return, we take 1 favor. And again, the favor comes from whatever the suit is from the card that you're using the favor with. So it's going to be 1 here. Now, if we look at the card with trade, we place this and we get this and this per matching advisor. Now, I have no advisors, which is really, really weird, because at the beginning of the game, as you set up your game, you would have gotten an advisor. So I don't really know what is going on there, but whatever. You know, we got 1 favor because we don't have an advisor. Oh, poor Chancellor, no advisors. You know what? We should try to get an advisor. Now, in the game, in the rule book, they're going to search the deck, and I'm going to cheat now. I'm just going to search the deck, and I'm going to look for Errand Boy. Because that's the card that we would end up with as we do a search action. So this is not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to draw the 3 cards, and if there's a vision, you're supposed to stop and all that kind of stuff. But in the walkthrough game, they get the Errand Boy, and they play it face up to advisors. The other 2 cards, well, okay, let's say I drew 3 cards, so the other 2 cards would go here. Oh gosh, this is already going really poorly. But anyways, we now have an Errand Boy as an advisor, which is a cool card, really. I mean, most cards in Oath are really cool, but this one, whenever you are searching, if you pay 1 favor to your advisor, I shouldn't say pay, if you do 1 favor for your Errand Boy, you may draw from a discard pile in a different region instead of yours. So if you're like, hey, Errand Boy, I'll do something nice for you, the Errand Boy will just go to another region. And we're like, hey, this is in the discard pile here. You want me to bring something back? That's how Somatic Oath is. It's really cool. So anyways, played that one. Then they're going to travel, and they are going to travel to the other cradle site. Okay, so to travel to the other cradle site, that would be 1, because I remembered that. So it's up here. And then we're going to go here. We're going to flip this one. We're going to bring this over. We're going to check this thing. That's a relic. Let's put that relic there. All right. And yeah, like if we can put a Discord here, we would grab it for free, or we could just pay, what is it? We could burn 2 secrets, that's expensive, and then we could grab it as well. And there's only room for 1 card here. So, cool. All right, let's see if I did everything correctly, right? Yeah, so that's pretty much what was supposed to happen. And I revealed Forest Passive, apparently. Yeah. Okay. Oh, no, I revealed the Lush Ghost. So, no, these are the wastes. Well, I guess that the setup game that I set up is not really the same as the one in the rule book. So, my bad. Well, Enforced Bats is not in here either. So I guess I can't do this full tutorial game, but since I explained everything anyways, like, I guess you can just run through the game by yourself. Like, yeah, it'll, you know, in this story it'll explain how you can trade. So that's straightforward as well. I'll go through the rule book really quickly. What you guys maybe, like, let's bring it up here. So can I zoom in a little bit? So I was kind of here when everything went messed up. So reveal my forest path. So here what they are doing is they are taking favor from the Beast Bank because they are. Oh, they have Forest Paths as their advisor card, so they flipped it face up as a minor action, so they didn't have to pay for it. And then they. Well, actually, I could mimic that. Like, let's see. Let's see. All right. Jesus Christ. Here we go. Forest Path. No. Yeah, there it is. So I guess we were wrong about the Chancellor. The Chancellor did have an advisor at the beginning of the game. It was face down and it was Forest Path. So as a minor action that doesn't cost supply, we could flip it. And then we can place 2 favor on the Forest Path. So boom, boom. And that would allow me to get 1 secret. Where would we get that secret from, you ask? Well, it would be from the Beasts. The Beasts. I like the Beasts. They have cool cards. And actually, you can look for that in the rulebook, but like the suits are really thematic. I've already explained that, but like the beasts will let you do a lot of like kind of military-ish stuff. I mean, a lot of it has to do with movement as well, and then with the animals and stuff. Like they're cool, but like yeah. So I put 2 favors on an advisor, and you can do that. And I got a secret for it. Where did I grab my secret? Here we go. Actually, don't I get like an extra secret or something? Let me check the rules. Place case up per matching advisor. Well, I do have 2, right? I place 2 advisor and I take 1 secret. Well, okay. Because where did the errand boy get played to? Wouldn't it be 2? I'm so sorry. Yeah, was also placed to the advisors. Well, I guess I'll have to check the rules for that because I would expect there to be 2 advisors, but maybe when there's coin on there. No, I don't think so. Oh, you only get 1 secret per advisor of matching suit. If you don't have any matching advisors, so okay, I got it now. Sorry about that. So yeah, gain per matching advisor. So I hope they change this text for the final copy. Per matching suit amongst your advisors is really what it is. So 1 secret per advisor of matching suit. Wait, you only get 1 secret per advisor of matching suit. Oh, now I'm just really confused. Well, I guess the card itself doesn't count, which makes sense, I guess. So, 1 secret, that's a rule I'm going to have to pay attention to. So, hopefully that helps somebody, because I did not notice that whatsoever, and I've played tons of games already. So, I would have taken 2 secrets here, but like, yeah, the card itself probably doesn't count. So, yeah. I mean, it also says trade on an empty card at your site, and did I put the... Did they put the... Oh, okay. I am really messing this up. Yeah, it's getting kind of late here. So, all right. So you can't do this with your advisors, I'm assuming. Yeah, you can't do this with your advisors. I was just thinking that. It's kind of weird. I've never done this with my advisor. Learned something new. So, okay. Reveal my forest paths. And then, so this was face down. And that's what happens in the rule book. They grab this thing and they play it to the side of the Chancellor, which is legal because there's room for 3. And then they put these 2 on there, of course. There we go. And then they get the 1 secret. Wait, I already had 1 secret, right? Oh yeah, my secret is here now. So I get 1 secret right there. I have 1 advisor left. And now it's makes sense that it's 1 secret because it's 1 per. Huh. All right. Cool beans. I hope this stuff really helps somebody. But like, yeah, as you can see, it's easy to mess stuff up. So, and trading also costs 1 of these things. Apparently we're supposed to be out of supply now. So I must have messed up the... Oh, yes, we start at 17. And I put it here for start, but we start at 17 because there was more stuff out, I guess. Is that what went on? I don't know, but we're supposed to be out of supply, and then we go back to 17 at least, because we have 14 warbands, so that's between 17 and 11. So we go back here, and there we go. And then they talk in the rulebook about why is the Chancellor doing this? Well, they're trying to build up warbands and all that kind of stuff. Like, I like that copy, but like, yeah, that's stuff that you're just going to have to learn. Like, the idea is, as the Chancellor, you just want to defend yourself really well. And in this case, having a lot of stuff at sites, you know, it's about this thing here. The Chancellor does not want anybody to become Oathkeeper, Now, at this point in the game, I wouldn't worry that much about it just yet. But like, if you can keep it for, what is it, like 5 rounds, and then you roll a 6, you win the game. So that's what the Chancellor is just doing right now, just going with the most basic goal. I think in Oath, like, yeah, don't try to build up the coolest story always. Just be about the goals if you want to win. But is winning really that important? Who knows? So then we get to the Red Exile. All right. So Red Exile is gonna search, right? And he's gonna spend 2 supply because he's gonna search wherever he is at. And apparently he's in the mountain. Okay. Cool, he's in the mountain. So as an exile, you decide what side you start on. It has to be an open side, but so that's what happened. So all right, they're doing a search, and they're gonna search wherever you are. So you don't search here. This is where you discard. You search here. So all right, let's get the cards out. So it's an Inquisitor, Memory of Home. So those were the cards that the Chancellor probably put in there. So let me move them away from my advisors. Yeah, I don't know what my advisor is supposed to be actually, but I'm sure we'll figure that out. Oh, actually, there's more cards here that were supposed in the red starting hand. So the advisor is probably one of these guys. Let me see. Is there anything in here that would make sense? Not really yet. So I'm just going to keep these on the side. But these are the cards that I drew, these 3. Oh, the advisor is Animal Playmates. Okay, let's see if I can find Animal Playmates. Nope. That is just lovely. So that means that card is out somewhere. Okay. Alright, well, it looks like I did some searching while I paused the video, and it looks like the Animal Playmates are nowhere to be found. So, that sucks. Well, how about I just get the long lost hair or something? So let's say that this is gonna be my advisor. I'm gonna put it face down here and like whatever, fun times. And I'm just gonna put these guys, but like yeah, I mean that's gonna mess everything up. Like maybe this is like a good point to just be like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't really continue right now. So well, that's gonna be the video then, I guess. So yeah, the final thing is like for chronicling, like without the edifices and the cards, it's gonna be hard to do that as well. But once you're done with the game, like this thing is there that is going on. Let's zoom in on this a little bit. That'll explain how to clean up your game and how to prepare everything for the next game, how everything goes back in the box. But yeah, there's no way that I can do that with the card. I mean, the cards for the tutorial for some reason are not all... Wait a minute, Animal Playmates. Oh, gosh darn it, I found Animal Playmates. Okay, back in business. Man, all right. So this is supposed to be the advisor that Red has. All right, well, rock and roll. Oh, my Lord. This is the craziest tutorial ever. Like, am I going to hit like 2 hours and a half or something? Oh, jeez. At least you know how to play Oath after this, or not. Alright, Surge the Province's discard pile. Alright, did that. Got these cards that are probably completely different. And they decide to pick the card called Old Oak Tree. Which is not what I got at all, because I was smart enough to shuffle that thing. But at least it's going to be here. So, alright, I'm going to just do that. And like, let's pretend that one of the cards that I drew was the Old Oak Tree. Cool. Alright, so I spent my 2 supply, and I play the Old Oak Tree. So I'm going to play that here, and that is legal because there's 2. Now, what happens next? Well, denizens love it when you do favors, when you play cards, so you get 1 favor for that from the beast deck. And let's see, is there anything else? Well, this doesn't have a when it's played like Garrison did. Whoops. Huh. Well, that's a cool animation that just came out of nowhere. Like, yeah, this is when played. The Old Oak, actually, when trading with it, so this is a modifier for your trade action. Gain 1 more if you have any, so you can get extra secrets, because the Old Oak will whisper them to you. You know, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, cool. So it never costs more than 2 supply. They explain in the rulebook whenever you want to draw from your discard pile here. So, oh, the old oak tree was supposed to be in here, which it wasn't. But, you know, I shuffled this thing, so now everything is just messed up. And then we get to the next action. It's going to be a minor action because we're going to reveal our animal playmates. And since this has the little blue thingy, this thing here, it means it has to be an advisor. And that makes sense because you spend no supply if you're mustering on a beast card. So... yeah, so that means if we're gonna muster, so mustering means getting warbands, and that means putting, let me just open it up. So that means on an empty card at your side, you place favor and you get 2 warbands. So to muster with, on a beast card would be mustering on the old oak, and that's why Red is probably doing this. They're like, oh, I have my animal playmates, so at my side, I want to have one of these beast cards, and old oak will do just fine. So let's see what the playbook does next. So, oh, we trade with the old oak. Who would have thought, right? Hey, wait, we're not mustering. Huh. So I guess we're not using the special ability here. Oh, well. Cool, we're trading. So that is going to be a 1. And you spend... yeah, well, for trading, so the rule there is on an empty card at your side, you... well, we want a secret, right? Because we would like to get, yeah, secrets, because you want to get those secrets, because those secrets will get you a lot more favor than if you only have 1. So we're going to place our secret there. Or, no, wait, the other way around. We're going to put our 2 favors there, because we wanted more secrets, right? And then we get 1 secret, because we have an advisor of the same suit as what we put favor on. So that's how you get the secrets. That's an easy rule to overlook, people. Per matching advisor, right? So yeah. Now the cool thing is I did something wrong here. Can you tell what? Look at the old oak card again if you couldn't figure it out. If you trade with the old oak for secrets, gain 1 more if you have any beast advisors. And we did what we were supposed to do, but we do have beast advisors. We have 1 of those, so we get 1 extra secret. So we actually get 2 secrets instead of 1. Wow, Red is really getting a lot of secrets. They should like go after the darkest secret or something at this point. They could put like 3 on them, but at the same time, maybe you want to keep your secrets. I would probably not go after darkest secret just yet. First, build up some more resources. But anyways, we'll see what happens. So okay, next up they're gonna search the deck. All right, they're gonna spend 2 supply to search the deck. Is it the world deck or the? It just says search the deck. This costs 2 supply. Well, the world deck would be 2 supply as well. So they draw 2 cards because they find the alchemist and then a vision. Okay. All right, let's make that happen. So we're gonna draw cards, and apparently the first card is called Alchemist. Oh yeah, that guy. And then a vision. Like I don't even know what vision. Let's make it. Oh, I guess the visions aren't labeled, but I mean they're easy to see. Let's have a vision of rebellion. That's cool. So when you draw a vision card, when you see that eye, you stop drawing. So in this case, we drew 2 cards. And we can look at both of them. Whoops. All right, let's look at them right here. Okay. Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, tabletop simulator stuff. All right. Somebody put some snappers there. So, okay, so we can have the alchemist or we can have the vision of rebellion. It looks like, well, first off, yeah, I almost forgot. Whenever you see a vision, easy rule to forget. You move this marker up, and now it costs 3 instead of 2 to search the world deck. So, okay, we can have the vision of rebellion or the alchemist, and apparently we are going to get the alchemist, and we are going to place it to the advisors. Okay, makes sense. We could have placed the alchemist to a side as well, but not this side. Why do you think that is? Oh, where does this card go? So this card goes here, and we can't play the alchemist here because there's only room for 2 because of the 2 up here. Alrighty. And what does the alchemist let him do? Oh yeah, this is the card that lets you, yeah. So if you burn a secret and you spend a secret, you can get 4 favor from any favor bank or banks, which is super, super powerful. Because usually, you know, you're typically going to get your favors by putting secrets, like the garrison thingy here. And then you get favor from whatever that suit is. But there are going to be suits that are barely in play. And the ones that are in play are going to get scattered across the players. So the alchemist can get you those favors from suits that are not being used. And that might have like a ton of favor on them. So it's a really, really, really nice card. I like it a lot as an advisor. But having two different, I like to have advisors of the same suits though. And right now, although right now this is a good deal because they have the Taming Charm. So now Red could put 2 favor on Taming Charm and get secrets through Alchemist. So yeah, because the suits match. All right, let's see what they do next. Yep, they're gonna mess with that. They're gonna mess with the Taming Charm. So you basically want to have your pawn at sites that match your advisors. That's a really big mechanic in Oath. So okay, I'm gonna use the Alchemist. We're gonna put 1 secret on it, and we're gonna burn another secret, returning it to the shared bank. And in return, we're gonna take 4 favors from whatever banks we want. So it's gonna be 1 from Arcane. 1 from, sorry, Nomad, 1 from Arcane, 1 from Discord, and 1 from Order. So we are pretty rich right now. And what do you do when you're really rich in Oath? What would be a great thing to do when you're rich in Oath? Give you some time, yeah. I'm sure you can tell that I teach classes a lot. You grab the people's favor, because that's the next thing Red's going to do. And 4 is going to go on there. And we can put the 1 to whatever bank that we want. So let's see, they're going to put it into Beast, which makes sense because we have Beast advisors and there's, there's Beast Guard here, Beast Guard's there. Like you want to put the favor to where you can easily get it back. Like it's favors, you kind of want to keep it within your people. It's a little, it's a little bit nationalistic, I guess, but that's a good strategy in Oath, honestly. So yeah, you recover the people's favor. Oh, they're only gonna put 2 favor on it? Oh yeah, well, I would have put all my favor on it, honestly, so I could keep it for a while, but they're only gonna put 2 on it. It just needs to be more than the 1 that was on there, so that's fine. And now they can use the abilities, and I already explained this. So next up, they are, actually to do that, we're gonna have to move this down by 1, and then we are going to rest, and we have 11, so that's a 9+ space. And we didn't spend the last supply, so we get to move this one up as well. Cool. So why is Red doing this? Well, I don't know why Red would have taken the people's favor, honestly. Like, Red set himself up to compete on 2 visions, and, well, Red knows which vision this is. And what vision is this? It's the vision of rebellion. Oh, what a coincidence. So, yeah, in this scenario, yeah, maybe it makes sense, because, like, if Red can... let's open this up. If Red can go there, which isn't too expensive, and pick this thing up, and then reveal it, spend 1 turn while keeping the people's favor, and then wake, they'll win the game after there have been 3 visions. So right now, 1 vision has been seen. So Red would have to wait until we get to this point. But once we're there, if they can still recover this, having the people's favor would be really good. I think right now in this practice game, this is way too freaking early to go for that, but that's just my opinion. So yeah, what I do like about Red's play is the economic engine that they're building. Because they've got this set up really well. Like that's what you want to look for in Oath, like I was saying. You want to look for suits that match the sites that you can be at. And if Red on the next turn, turn this into Warbands, kick the Empire out of here, really claim this site to themselves, because it's the mountain, and the mountain special ability is actually if somebody attacks you in your warbands in the mountain, they get 1 less offensive die. So that's a really cool ability. Makes it harder, the mountains are easily defended. Anyways, let's get to the rest so we can wrap up the video, because I'm getting kind of tired and I want to do something else with my life at this point. So here we are, blue. What is blue gonna do? Blue apparently is also starting here in the mountains. All right. And I should probably get blue their starting stuff. So let's do this, and let's make a copy of, is this one? Okay. And then 1, 2, 3, guys. Booyaka. All right. So blue. Blue is also going to be here, and they have an advisor of the... I don't know what advisor that blue has. Let's see if I can figure that out. Yeah, so blue's advisor is going to be the naysayers. So that's cool. And actually, I'm just going to grab all these cards here real quick. Flip them. Dump them on the world deck. Where is it? Here we go. Since I should not have shuffled this. I think the setup was actually okay, and there was just something that went wrong, but I'm winging it. Whatever. All right. So, okay. So blue is gonna use their secret, and they're gonna put it on Taming Charm. Oh, I messed something up here. I messed something up big time. Ooh, God, I really messed it up badly. So I forgot to do the rest phase for all of them. So this secret goes here. These favors don't go there. Haha, fooled you. No, these favors go back to whatever card they're on. So to the suits of Beast, and these one also to the suit of Beast. So it doesn't. It just happens to be that they're both on Beast suits. So that's where they go. And secrets go back to whoever put them there. So this is what it would look like at the start of the blue turn. So then blue is gonna put their secret on the Taming Charm. Alrighty. And they are going to actually use that ability. I don't even know what it does anymore. Like, you discard a beast or a nomad card at your side to gain 2. Oh God, why would you put Old Oak here if that card is there? Read the cards, people. So this gets discarded. So again, discarded means to the next pile. Yeah, Taming Charm, I mean, it tames the beasts or the nomads. So, yeah, well, that's what happened. Makes Red's position a lot less strong. And they get 2 from the matching favor bank. So that's 2 from the beasts. So, alrighty, 2 come in. So that was that action. Then they're going to search the deck. So that doesn't cost any supply, by the way, right? So then they're going to search the deck. That's going to be 3 because of this number here. All right, well, I hope that... Okay, they have seen a vision, apparently. So let's move that one up. I don't know which vision, but let's grab a random one. I don't know, like, let's see if it says what vision they see. Doesn't look like it. So I'm just going to grab a random vision. Whatever comes out. Here we go. Vision of Faith. That's what we're going to grab. I think that's the one with the darkest secret. Yeah, so this is similar to... So they see a vision. And they're going to keep it as a face down advisor, which is cool. And another card just goes here. So, no, sorry, it goes here. I was thinking if blue was here, it would go back to the cradle, but it's here, so it goes there. So, yeah, draw 2 cards. Even though they were allowed to draw 3 cards, you stop once you see the vision. They discarded 2 cards on the hinterland pile, and only exiles can reveal visions, yep. And then they're going to take a minor actions, reveal the naysayers. So here are the naysayers, which is a forced advisor. Because if this was not forced to be an advisor, we could have played it to the side now because there's room again. But because of that little symbol here, we can't. So now we got the naysayers. And the cool thing is, like, when you rest the naysayers, if any exile is Oathkeeper or Usurper, take 1 favor from the Chancellor. So that's a really cool card. So somebody's going to try to become Oathkeeper, I guess, because then this card becomes useful. So yeah, this is very contextual, honestly. I don't know if I would make that my advisor, but since it doesn't have the chains here, you can always get rid of it once you... I mean, you can't just get rid of it, but if you have 3 advisors and you draw another card that you put in your advisor, so you would have 4, you have to discard down the 3. So then you can get rid of the naysayers. Anyways, it's still a Discord, and a Discord card is not terrible with the state of the game. Oh, it's pretty terrible. I don't know why they... Well, I guess at the beginning of the game, you pick your card, and you might not know what's going to come out, I guess. Anyways, we're going to peek at the Relic, which is also minor. So this was a Circlet of Command. All right. And then we're going to recover the Ivory Eye. I think this relic then was supposed to be an Ivory Eye and not a Circle of Command. So we're gonna get the Circle of Command instead, and we're just gonna deal with it. So to get that, what we do is we burn 2 favors. Do we have 2 favors? Yep. Burn. Grab this thing. Woohoo! Now we have relics. What does this do? Players cannot target or take your banners or your other relics. So the banners is people's favorite darkest secret or other. That's really cool. Yeah. Really, really cool. So this thing, but most of the relics, and that's kind of interesting as well, also have a trade-off. Because like with this one, you... oh no, actually. Yeah, I don't know if there's really a trade-off here. I don't know. Whatever. Let's move on. So I recovered that thing. Then I traveled to the 3rd province's site. Okay, let's go there. And how much it's going to cost me? Right up here. 2. All right. Flippity flip. Here we go. It was supposed to be the Salt Flats, and I got I mean, I am in the provinces, and this is the third card. Is this maybe the Salt Coast? Wait, didn't I see the Salt Coast somewhere else? Well, too bad. It's the Barren Coast in my scenario. All right, well, we flip it. Put my thing on it. The only thing that's kind of a bummer. So I'm gonna look quickly for a card that does a thing in the tutorial. Here. So the Salt Coast in the tutorial actually has stuff here as well. That's not just a relic. So for the the Salt Flats would have 2 favors and 1 secret. Here we get 3 favors. So if blue would have traveled here, we would have prepped this by putting 3 favors on the card. However, the card that we went to doesn't have that. This one just gets a relic. So whatever. Yeah, maybe you're asking yourself, okay, how do you recover those things? Does it also recover action? No, no, no. You will recover it through this thing, because those cards would have opportunities. They're called opportunity sites, and they have that on there. So this one probably, see, it has a little hand. So at a site like that, at the end of your wake phase, if you're there, you may take 1 favor or secret from that site. So if your pawn is here at the end of the turn while there are still favors on this card, you can just take him. So it pays to go there, like literally. All right, cool beans. So, and then blue is going to rest like, okay, I know there's just 1 turn per... I'm moving on now. So why is blue doing all this? Blue is breaking the combo. Because, yeah, red set themselves up for a powerful combo. Because blue can see these cards as well, obviously. So, yeah, you want to break that as soon as possible. So that's, I think, the biggest thing. And then they're just diversifying. You know, they got a vision, and maybe they'll be able to do it. They got a relic. One of the visions is having the most relics. So that could be cool. Maybe they could become a citizen somehow. There are some cards that make you citizen without the Chancellor's permission. Or they might steal the scepter, become a citizen. And then they need the most relics and banners to win the game. So there's lots of ways for blue now to go win the game. So that's the strategy that they're following. But like, moving on to the final one. So yellow is going to show you how to muster. And yellow is starting also in the Rocky Coast. Okay, no, here by themselves. Cool. So they're going to muster. All right, let's do that. So muster, you pay 1. And then you put 1 favor. I got rid of his favors. So here, let's get him. It's 1 favor at the start of the game. Yeah. So he's going to pay 1 favor to the elders, I'm assuming. And that would give them 2 warbands. Now, if you're like, what? How do you know this? Well, it's really straightforward, actually. Right here. Empty card at your side. So then we are going to reveal the face-up advisor. And honestly, this was like, when I saw this advisor the first time when I played the game, I was just like, oh my god. Leader games, you've done it again. Oh wait, such an awesome game. So the advisor that they have is a small favor. It's one with the change thing, so you can't get rid of it. But like, look at that card. So it's a Discord. So Discord are kind of like making deals with the devil kind of thing a lot of the times, like crazy chaotic stuff, right? So there's like this little creature attached to this guy's bag that you can never get rid of. Because you basically sold your soul, I guess. Like, it's a small favor that you do for 4 warbands, and in return, you can never get rid of this thing. So, it's really dark. And now you can only have 2 extra advisors, because this is the most useless card ever now. Once those 4 warbands are gone, like, it's a rough card. Like, I love seeing this, but I was like, oh, come on, can't I get like 6? 1, that's thematic, I guess. But on the other hand, also, like, 4 warbands is not that much. But anyways, like, context. It's all about context, right? So they reveal that thing, got 4 warbands, and then they're going to campaign against the Chancellor. And I am going to run that for you real quick. So how does that work? Well, you need to do the targeting thing. You don't have to go chase this thing down for 1. You just need to be at a spot where you can target their warbands or the Chancellor. So you pay your 2 supply, right? And then we are just going to follow along with the campaign summary. So spend 2 supply and choose the defender. You can choose any one other player who rules your site or whose pawn is there. If no player rules your site, you can choose the bandits instead. Okay, cool. So at this thing, no bandits, player. All right, we're going to fight the Chancellor. Oh god, we're going to fight the Chancellor. Let's see how that actually goes instead of what happens in the rule book. So declare any number of targets. So you can try to take the scepter. That would be targeting the relics, or a banner if they would have one. So if we want to take the banner from red, we could do that if we go where red spawns or warbands are. Then we could target the pawn themselves. And if you target the pawn, you'll also target their favor. Now you can steal favor, which is kind of unfortunate. I kind of hope that you could, but you can't. But you can burn their favor, which is even worse. It's not just stealing. It's just like, I steal it and I'm going to freaking burn it and have you watch it. So it's great. Actually, it's not, because when you burn it, it's taken out of the economy of the game because it doesn't go back to the suit. So it's actually really, really evil. Anyways, and then there's your site. So you can target your site, and if they rule the site, if you don't rule the site, or if somebody who's not involved rules the site, you must target it if they rule it. So in this case, we're gonna have to target the Rocky Coast. We're gonna try to take the Rocky Coast away from them. So whatever you're targeting is what you're trying to take away. So in this case, we could target, let's see. We can't target this because their pawn's not here. We can't target this because their pawn's not here. We must target this because they rule it, which means the warbands are there. And we can also, and this is the trickiest freaking rule in the beginning of the game, but it's really not that hard. You can also then, after you make your choice out of this stuff, and you can take all of the above, or just one, or just two, whatever. But once you figured this thing out, then you can also go after other sites that they rule. So in this case, like if I was like really, really bold, I could just be like, I'm gonna grab all your sites. So this thing, this thing, this thing. That would be really, really crazy, and I would get my handed to me so hard. But yeah, you could do that. You don't just have to grab wherever you are. You could even, if their pawn was here, we could even go after their scepter as well, and we could try to banish them and go after their favor too. But their pawn's not there, so they're safe from that. But and you can probably see now I was saying you want to keep some warbands on your board, because yeah, if you end up, if they come to retaliate and they're here and they target your stuff, and your warbands are somewhere else, you're just gonna be a sitting duck. Anyways, so let's see what I'm supposed to target in the rule book. I'll choose the Chancellor as a defender because they rule the side, and we're just gonna go after the mountains and the Rocky Coast, which I think is sensible. Because that means we're targeting 4 warbands, and we have a whole bunch. We have more than 4. And they are going to get 2 blue dice for that, because they're printed up here. So that is totally sensible. Because this is a thing. Is this a good idea? That's an important bit. And you want to have more than their defending force plus the amount of blue dice that they're going to have, as a general rule. Now, I would say from experience, if they have a lot of blue dice, like more than 3, be careful. I mean, it'll still be fine. You will still beat them, but you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose some warbands over it. Anyways, so okay. Actually, blue did this, so I forgot the cleanup phase for blue again. The rest, so that would go. The secret goes back to blue at the end of their phase. I've done that really poorly. I hope that doesn't mess with anybody. But all right, let's do this thing. So I'm gonna follow by the book, but I kind of already know it by heart at this point. So you get the red dice based on the warbands on your board, and the defender gets the ones shields on the targets. So this is something that I messed up in my first game. So I have what is it? 1, 2. I got 4 down here. Okay, I apologize for doing this, but it's really hard to see in Tabletop Simulator when you drop them. Actually, if you play on Tabletop Simulator as well, you can just press a number key and you get them like this, and now you're like, oh, it's 9. Really easy. Anyway, so I got 9 warbands, and they're all going to be involved. I don't think you declare that, actually. I always put all my warbands in. There's never really a reason so far in any of the games that I played to not use all of them if you're fighting. So that means that I get 9 red die. So, well, let's just put this one to the side, and I get all 9 of these. Yoink. And yoink. 9 red dice. All right, I didn't roll those. That was just for... And blue gets 2. Why does blue get 2? Well, because 1 for this, 1 for this. For the blue dice that are literally printed here. That one. And, well, that one. Okay. Now, if I were to be targeting like the scepter, like, yeah, now we're adding 5 extra. If I would target the pawn in the favor, that would add 2 extra, right? So that's the blue dice. The only thing, the rule that I missed in my first game, it's not for every warband that they have, they get a blue die. And thank goodness, because these double up sometimes. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, they have a multiple by 2 type of thing. So if you roll, like, you know, 4 shields and then you roll times 2, times 2, times 2, like, yeah, all of a sudden you have a lot of swords to roll. So anyways, these are the dice that I'm going to be rolling. Now, I have to check, though, because I think I made one mistake. Yes, Oathkeeper. So it's actually 3 blue dice because I forgot about the Oathkeeper. So here we go. Oathkeeper. That's the blue die. So we go up with 7. So I guess I miscounted my Warbands. He's supposed to only have 7. So we get 7 versus 3. Now, yeah, I'll just follow along with this. So, you know, you could use battle plans at this point. So if you have battle plans, and actually, let me just grab a battle plan to show you how easy that would be. Oh God, no, I know what happened. I didn't miscalculate. I forgot about the mountains. So that removes 1 red die. So, you know, yep. So that removes 1 red die. Boom, that's gone. And then battle plans, the Chancellor had a battle plan here, longbows. So they rule this site, so they have access to longbows, which is plus minus 1 red die. So this is both offensive or defensive. So they can take another die away here. So now I have my 7 dice, even though I have 9 warbands. And this is important. So, you know, you want to look at what the modifiers are, well, what the blue dice are, but also what the modifiers for blue and red dice are. In this case, you know, since they're on the defensive end, they can't add a red die. They're just going to remove a red one for this and remove a red one here. So, okay. Good thing I checked. All right. And then we've got all that kind of stuff. And I'm just going to roll them and show you what actually happens. And then we'll see. So, okay. In this case, all right. I always put these aside first because you can tell that these are special. So, I get 4 swords here. And 2 skulls. So that means 2 warbands are back to my resources. And let's see if we won this. So we got 4, because these are the hollowed out ones, or half ones. So this counts for 2. And then we got 1 here, so that's 3. And then we add 4 here, so that's 7 in total. What did they roll? They roll 1 shield times 2, so that's 2. And then they had 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 from the blue dice plus the 4 is 6. So I win because it's higher. If we tie, they win. If lower, obviously they win as well. So that's what happened. Now let's mess with this a little bit. Let's say that they rolled a 2 here. So now we have 1 times 2, still 2, times 2 is 4. 4 first 4 is 8. I have 7. Oh no, I lose. No, not really. Let's see how that works. So again, the roll defense and the roll attack, it's explained here. Then we take the losses. So you can sacrifice your warbands to make up points. So sacrifice 1. Now I am at 8, so it's 8, 8. Sacrifice 2. Now I'm at 9, and now I win the battle, but it cost me some warbands. So I win the battle. So what happens then? Well, when you win the battle, half of the units of the warbands of your defender go back to their supplies. The other half goes back to their board as bodyguards. That's how that works. And now I get to move units from my board to whatever regions that I targeted. So in this case, I'll just do what's in the book, I guess. 1 on the mountain and 1 on and 2 on the rocky coast. So that's what happens in the rule book. But there you go. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I think I went over it pretty well. So at this point, they do a couple more actions for yellow. They're gonna search the deck and they're gonna spend 3 supplies for it, I believe. So that would do everything. So to search the deck, it's gonna cost them 3. So they're gonna. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to get other cards than what they would be getting. But they find the tents. So I can grab the tents real quick and just wrap it up. So that. Oh, they're not in here even, so they must have gone to any of the other piles. Okay, let's have a quick look. There's only 2 in here. There's 4 in here. Let's see if the tents are in here. Yep, tents are right there. All right, so this was the card that they drew, and 2 other cards are gonna go back to the cradle because we're discarding to the right, so it doesn't go to provinces. It goes to the cradle because like it's just that's how it works. So we get the tents, all right, and we're gonna draw. We're gonna play it to the side because we have 2 here, so we have room for that. And ooh, we're set up really well to grab some nomads right now. So we played the tents here, so that's cool because that means we get a favor. Because whenever you play to the, you get favor. And then let's see. We're actually gonna use it as our last thing, and an action is a free action, so just taking the action. So we're gonna put 1 favor on there, pays for itself, and we spend no supply if we're traveling to a site in our region. So it's really, really cool. So we could now go to any of these other sites, and I don't know, they go to a site, but I don't care. And then they're gonna rest, and now I'm gonna do it properly. So we have 8 warbands, so we would go up to here. Warbands, yeah. Yep. And then we are gonna return the favor to the proper banks. All right. There's nothing else on the board, so that's the proper rest phase for once. And that is it. And at this point, we advanced the round marker, and that was the first round of the game. I did it. All right. Jesus Christ, that was long. Whew. So like I said earlier, like the chronicling, I'm not really going to be able to do, I guess. But the idea is... the general idea of doing the chronicle is, well, when somebody wins the game, that oath is going to be the oath for the next game. Well, if it's not going to be... I'm confused now. If you do this thing, it's not going to be the oath for the next game, I believe. But if you get the vision, it is going to be the oath for the next game. So that's kind of how that works. But I'm not going to get into that. That's another video. How about if you guys get me 500 subscribers for this video, I'll make another video. For now, this is going to be my tutorial of Oath. I really hope this helps somebody. Like, there's a lot of stuff in here. I think, yeah, if you look at the playbook right now, they talk about offering citizenship. I kind of touched on that a little bit. That's with the scepter. You know, check the rules. Check the online rules that you can search when you do that type of stuff. Like, once you have citizens in your game, stuff gets more complicated. I would play the first game without making anybody citizen, honestly. Don't worry about that. Like, yeah, it says don't teach that before you've played around. And, like, when there are citizens, things get more complicated. So I would play a full game, maybe even 2 games without making a citizen until you're really comfortable with everything that's in here that we looked at in this video. And then I would be like, okay, now you can make some citizens. So yeah, they follow slightly different rules. Make sure you do the bandits things well. There's a conspiracy vision in there that allows you to fake out a vision, which is really cool. And there is going to be edifices, which are amazing. Like there are these sites that will stay from game to game as you chronicle. But again, like that's not something you have to worry about too much right now. I hope this was really helpful. I have fun making it for sure. Yeah, get me a bunch of subscriptions and I'll make a video on how to play the Clockwork Prince, because honestly the Clockwork Prince is really, really, really fun. It works well. I've played games by myself where I just took care of 2 characters, one being a Chancellor, the other an Exile, and then the Clockwork Prince, or the Clockwork Prince is the Chancellor, and or even just with 1 character of my own. It's pretty fun. The Clockwork Prince is basically just this completely crazy tyrant who is overpowered but also not very smart, and who just comes in with tons of warbands and will just slaughter your people, but you can outsmart him, and that's why it's fun. The outsmarting part is really good. All right, and that'll be it. Have fun. Bye bye.